You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks. So many of you know that I am the closest you can get to a tech geek who's cool. Just letting y'all know. There's no pocket thing. I don't wear short sleeve dress shirts and ties. You'll never see me in a short sleeve dress shirt with an ascot. Not gonna happen. So, understanding television. Now, here's the deal. There's a difference between broadcast networks and cable networks. Okay? Broadcast networks are regulated by the Federal Communications Commission. Those are the public airwaves. They are allowed to broadcast nationally over the public airwaves, meaning it used to be you can get a television, and you can turn the television on, and you can watch all these channels when it was analog, but then when the digital signal changed, you had to get a digital signal. Now, it used to be no matter where you live, you could pick up these stations. Some hanky-panky has been going on, though, and I know this for a fact because it's amazing in the places where I live how it's very difficult to get some of these channels. I personally believe what they're doing is they're blocking these signals or limiting the range of the signals to force you to get that cable set-top box to see your favorite channels. Now, let me further unpack that for you. Again, y'all, this is what I do. I've been doing it for my whole life as a journalist. There's a thing called retransmission. So here's what happened. These companies said, well, wait a minute, cable companies, y'all getting paid, and these people are watching ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, so y'all need to start paying us. See, the way cable works, a lot of these cable companies, they get subscription fees. You might get 3, 5, 7 cents, 10 cents. ESPN was getting as many as $4 to $6 per subscriber, which is why the cable bills were so high. So then the broadcast company said, you gotta pay retransmission fees. First person to do that was Les Moonves, who was at CBS. He understood the power of their signal. And we're talking about, folks, millions, 5, 6, 7, $800 million in retransmission fees. But they're supposed to have those signals for free to the public. So my next guest created Locast.org. Now, I'm going to pull up in a second. And so here's their web interface, folks. And so go to my iPad. And so this is what it is. So basically, what they've done is they've said, hey, people should be able to see their local stations. So I'm going to go here to the cities. Now, right now, they're in Washington, D.C., Chicago, L.A., Rapid City, Iowa. That's where Rapid City is, right?
South Dakota.
South Dakota. Oops. A whole bunch of white people. That's what they all know. Atlanta, Dallas, New York, San Francisco, Baltimore, Denver, Philadelphia, Seattle, Boston, Houston, Phoenix, Sioux Falls.
Also South Dakota.
Also South Dakota. No black people there. And they added somebody new. I saw the press release. And Seattle. So basically, if you're in these markets, you can watch your local net stations do this. Now, again, before I go to my guest, let me explain to you. This weekend, I'm in L.A. for the NABJ board meeting. I pay Xfinity, Comcast, for my cable. I should be able to watch my damn cable wherever I am. I'm paying for it. Nope. I pull up the Xfinity app in LA. I can't watch my cable. I'm trying to watch the Astros play the Nationals, and they beat them. But I can't because they're saying you're out of market. So here I am in the board meeting, bored out of my mind, trying to watch my Astros, and I can't, although I'm paying for it. Luckily with Locast, I pull them up. They're in LA. Click. I watch the game via their website as a result of this being created. The networks did not want to do that. You can't go to the local affiliate to watch the game. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm sorry, but this is the public airwaves. Well, my next guest created Locast, and he created not just so you can see it, he actually did it so they could sue him. The founder and president of Goodfriend Government Affairs, David Goodfriend. David, how you doing?
Hey, Roland, thanks for having me on the show.
Now, is that pretty much the story.
Well, that's about as good a send-up as I could ask for. You always tell it like it is. That's why I love you. I don't know about your choice of jerseys tonight, but I love you anyway.
This the only way I roll. It's the only way I roll. I got no problem with DC Tears by 11:30 tonight. Go ahead.
I better leave that alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, Roland, the point that you make is true. It's kind of what we're all about. I've been a telecommunications lawyer for a long time. I worked at the FCC at one time. And it always struck me that these public airwaves that are supposed to bring locally oriented public news, weather, sports to everybody in the community, that's kind of been a lost value. You know, the broadcasters have no trouble going to Congress asking for billions of dollars for help. Hey, we got to move our transmitter. Okay, you got it. What they always argue is we're doing a public service by making these things free to people. Well, you're absolutely right when you say today, if you put up an antenna and you try to get an over-the-air signal, chances are you're going to have some trouble getting it.
Yep.
That's always been the case.
You might get some of them, and then if you hit rescan, you might get some of the other ones and not those. It's not like I'm going to get all of them, and that's what I'm supposed to get.
You are supposed to get it. And those broadcast companies have gotten a gift from you, the taxpayer, the American citizen, so that they can make it available to you. And the problem is people are paying more and more and more money. And I'm sorry, but when I was growing up, $100 a month meant a lot to our family. And there are plenty of people who simply cannot afford to pay these increasing fees. They're being forced to pay it because they're being told, if you want this whole package, you must pay us.
And not just the fees, the set-tops fees.
Yes.
The cable industry fought viciously to keep that. And they said, Google and these folks want to take it over. No. The software, the Googles of the world were saying, damn it, put the apps on the box and sell the box to the consumer. Why is the consumer having to pay a set-top box fee every month? This was billions of dollars. And then here's the crazy thing. I got DirecTV service. When I got rid of it, they went, oh, by the way, you didn't own that box. Well, what the hell did I?
Yeah, you were paying a lease fee for
I'm
it.
sorry.
You took it back. That's right.
I bought something that I didn't own. That's the games they're playing.
That's right.
And so what they're doing now with this is forcing you, so the broadcasters are forcing you to go to the cable companies to get the cable, and the cable companies are paying the broadcasters the retransmission fee to carry their signal, and both of them making like a fat rat.
Everybody's making money except you. You're the one who gets shafted every single time. Now look, I mentioned that I worked at the FCC. I mentioned I've been involved in these issues. And I got to tell you, I've been disappointed over and over and over again. I have a successful practice. I represent big companies. But I got to tell you, I came to the conclusion that our current legislative process is never going to address this. I mean, we had a good laugh about that nominee. But we're living in a dysfunctional political time. And there's never going to be someone who steps forward and says, I'm going to take on those big money interests and do it. So my friends and I took a look at current law. And by the way, this was not our idea. I can't take credit for it. A lot of people have talked about this over the years. But there really is a provision in the Copyright Act that says if you are a nonprofit, you may retransmit a local broadcast signal. It's like crystal clear. There's no ambiguity about it. Mm-hmm. And for years, nonprofits would put up these towers, like translator services, they were called. I'm going to collect this signal and then boost it out so everybody can see it. Nobody ever sued. Nobody ever touched it. We said, I wonder if you could do that over the internet. I wonder if you could collect the broadcast signal over the air and retransmit it as a nonprofit in that market so that people who cannot afford cable can at least see their local broadcast TV stations.
Love it.
We launched it in January 2018 in New York City. And I thought, as Roland mentioned, like I did this to, I thought there's gonna be a lawsuit. I did. I thought, well, this is what broadcasters do. You do something like this, they sue you. It didn't happen. And then we launched another market. And I thought, well, now for sure, I mean, they're gonna sue and we're gonna make our argument in court, and it didn't happen. A year and a half went by. We are now serving 40% of television households in the United States. And now they decided to sue. Mm-hmm. I think because they're seeing members of the public actually like this. They've caught on. And we get comments that would break your heart. I never used to be able to see my local public TV station. Mm-hmm. I can't afford cable.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And you come along and now I can watch it. Hey, I had to go into my basement during a tornado.
Yep.
There's no cable down in my basement. The over-the-air signal won't get there.
Yep.
I used your service to watch the weather reports about the tornado. It saved my life.
And see,
I can't make this up. It's all on our
and the reason
website.
the reason I totally understand this because I've always had portable televisions. I grew up in Houston.
Right.
Okay. Hurricanes.
Right.
All right. I was raised. You better have a portable device with batteries in case power goes out. So I always had the analog, and then I got the digital, the portable digital TVs. But they're now hard to find. Why? Because of the internet. So the problem is, okay, same thing. In a storm, I need to know what the hell's going on because power gets knocked out, Wi-Fi's out,
Right.
TV's out, okay, radio. All of a sudden, it's like, so how are we now operating? And that's the absolute case. Then, again, understanding this, cord cutting comes along. People are saying, right, I'm tired of paying $220, and now you throw on the internet as well. Now all of a sudden you're paying $300 and $400 a month in addition to your cell phone.
Oh my God.
Right.
And I'm only watching 4 channels.
So
So much
cord
junk.
cutting comes along, and people are slashing. So what happens? People start saying, you know what, I don't need all that, because wait a minute, hold up. Why am I paying for the box if I want to, because when Scandal was on, I could watch Scandal. Wait a minute, I can get an antenna. We were told, oh, don't get those antennas, big old rabbit ears. People are like, no, damn that. I put that on, wait a minute, hold up. That cost $19.99, $100 a month. I don't care about those rabbit ears.
Right.
But you're right. But the problem is, and I don't care, they're limiting those signals. Because I've scanned it too many times.
It's happening, Roland.
Right.
In fact, I will tell
They're
you.
doing it.
So I mentioned that the big 4 broadcast networks sued us. ABC, Disney, NBC, Comcast, NBC, Universal, Fox, and CBS. They didn't just sue the nonprofit, though. They sued me personally.
Oh,
Wow.
dirty dogs.
It was an intimidation tactic, I
Right.
believe. You will note that I am not intimidated. Anybody who's looking. And they also, I think, really opened up a can of worms for themselves because anybody who's in a fight will tell you the best defense is offense. You get hit, you hit back. So if they were going to sue me personally, I thought it was only right that I should hit them back. And we hit them back with allegations of collusion in violation of the antitrust laws, systematically trying to undermine our operation rather than just be upfront and state your claims. And in those claims, in those counterclaims we filed, we pointed out that it is harder and harder to get an over-the-air signal. And we believe that this is purposeful. It's great for them if you have to go pay a cable company to get their programming. They get a share of those fees.
Retransmission fees.
So what
Yes.
incentive would they have to make sure that you can get an over-the-air signal? Very little.
So as a part of this, and y'all can jump in with questions as well, but as a part of this, by you countersuing, that means that as it goes forward, you can start doing tests to see, okay, how far is this signal traveling?
Yes.
Because again, when we switched from analog to broadcast and the federal government resold those rights, I don't know why I know this stuff, y'all, but I do. The federal government resold that technology to wireless providers for billions of dollars. We were told, oh, with the broadcast signal, it's going to be the same as analog. So you can get the station now in your analog, you can get it with broadcast. And all of a sudden, you can't. Then you have people like, that was a company, they had a device.
Aereo.
That connected to the phone, allow you to pick up the broadcast signal.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, cool. The company sent me one of the devices and did the same thing. It scanned your local stations. But then I was trying to watch an NFL game. Oh, the NFL was blocking it. And you're like, wait a minute, hold up. I'm sorry. How can I watch it on my TV, but you're blocking it here? Because they wanted me to pay their internet rights as well.
Now, let me be clear about something, though. I want to make this really clear because it was a surprise to me. I have been surprised at the positive response I've gotten from small local broadcasters. One of them called me up out of the blue and said, I want to help you. I said, are you sure you have the right number? He said, yeah, I want to help you. And today, we're in business with a small broadcaster. We put our receive antenna on his tower and our servers in his station. Now, why would that broadcaster want help from us.
More people watching local
More
programming.
people watching local. Because you know what? Young people, if you say today, do you know the difference between broadcast and cable? You're like, what?
Yeah.
You know, it's on my phone or it's not.
Their eyes glazed over when Roland was trying to explain it. They're like,
Really?
he's talking foreign language.
But you know something? That's a smart, small business person who owns a small station who says, I'm getting crushed by these big players from all sides. I like you, Locast, because you're actually helping me reach a new audience, a bigger audience. I want to work with you. And by the same token, there are plenty of people in the cable industry who are like, do we really like this? This guy's helping people cut the cord.
Yep.
We might not like that. So what I've learned is that within industry, there are big variations of how people feel about this. Among consumers, there is no ambiguity.
No.
They love it. We are absolutely performing a public service as a nonprofit. And by the way, among the accusations leveled against me is that this is somehow a scheme for me to make money or for me to get ahead. I have collected $0. If anything, my wife is mad at me for the amount of time I've spent on this instead of going to make real money. I'm not doing this because I need to make a buck. I'm fine. I'm just frustrated with our policymaking process. I think consumers are getting shafted. I'd like to think when they put me in the ground, I did something useful with my life. And this is it. This is the fight of my life.
So what can consumers do to help support you?
I appreciate that. Well, you can log on. If you're in any one of the markets that we serve, and Roland listed a bunch of them.
Pull it up.
You can go to locast.org. You can download the app on Apple, on Roku, on Android, and you can become a contributing member at $5 a month. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to become a contributing member. You can use the service. We're going to bug you a lot and say, please become a contributing member. Most people use the service and don't contribute. That's cool. It's supposed to be free, but we do have costs. We got to rent that tower space. We got to buy those servers. So if you would contribute $5 a month for all your local channels, pretty good deal, you'll keep us afloat. And the more people that do this, it really is fascinating. Roland, this is a true grassroots project. We're funded by voluntary contributions from users, and it's working. It's working. People are grateful. They're like, thank you. You know what? I will contribute to you. So that's the best way to do it. And by the way, you should use the service. It's great. Your local broadcasters, all the advertising that's on there, we just retransmit it. You watch those ads, and it helps locally.
And see, before I go to Erica, so and I'm not picking on anybody, but again, understanding how capitalism works. So when Les Moonves ran CBS, what they did is they created CBS All Access.
Right.
So essentially, in order for you to watch your local program on your pad, they want you to buy CBS All Access. And you're like, wait a minute, it's free. Here's something also y'all don't realize. And again, Les Moonves, no longer there, but it was brilliant. Y'all, this is about to trip y'all out, okay? Again, this is the geek in me talking to y'all right now.
I love the geek in you.
So when I travel, I'm in hotels everywhere. I ain't like these damn kids, okay? I had 9 of my nieces and nephews crowding around a 13-inch laptop watching a video when 10 feet away was a damn 50-inch TV. It was the stupidest thing. I took a picture like, click, click. It's a big-ass TV. What are y'all doing? So when I go to travel, okay, I plug in my iPad to that 50-inch TV in the hotel room because I ain't trying to look at the iPad. CBS would block you. They will block. You could not. I would go in the hotel, unplug the HDMI cable, plug it in my iPad, just like this here. This zooming out. This is the exact same thing. HDMI cable to the adapter into my iPad, plug into the television. They blocked it. I called them, and they said, "Oh yeah, you can only watch your content on your iPad." Yeah. I said, "Every other network lets me plug in my iPad to the television to watch it on television." No, because they did not want you to cut the cord.
Now listen, Roland, you want to know who really is pissed off about CBS All Access, in my humble opinion? The CBS affiliate.
Yep.
Yeah.
The local affiliate says, wait a minute, I thought I got an exclusive in this deal. I thought I was the provider of CBS network programming in Washington, D.C. or Houston.
Right. Okay, so
CBS is saying, we're going to crush you.
Because you got to explain, but what people don't understand is that, okay, so CBS cuts deals with local TV stations to be their affiliate.
Right.
Those are local TV stations. The networks only owned and operated stations. And we're only talking about 10, 12, 15.
Right.
When you get 165, 175 affiliates, you're actually paying somebody else. Right. When they created that all access, the local station was like, wait a minute, that money's going to y'all.
Right.
So they're not, and so they're advertising and so they're losing money.
Right.
Because of that.
So let's bring this back to basics, okay? Let's bring it to basics of why
then Erica,
people should
go ahead.
care. Oh, sorry, Erica. You want to say
No, please.
Well, the basics here. Real people who have to pay real bills are getting shafted. They need a break, okay? How many times have you tried to fight back the cable company or any company and they say, oh, sorry, read the fine print. You lose. For once, we are saying, no, you read the fine print. Go read the Copyright Act. It says we can do this. We're on your side, the consumer. That's number one. Number two, localism was supposed to mean something. The local TV station that gives you local news, local weather, local sports, local political coverage. Remember that?
Yeah. Right.
Right? Yeah. Local communities actually getting a voice. Remember that? That's really being curtailed in our current system, and it hurts. We actually believe at Locast that we're helping the local affiliate reach a broader audience and thrive and push back, push back a little bit on that big network that's saying, we want to take all the money, we want to own all the eyeballs. And the last thing I'll say is, isn't it about time that being a nonprofit means you win? Congress had the right idea in 1976 when they said in the Copyright Act, a nonprofit can do something that a for-profit cannot do. Imagine in the world of banking if credit unions had more of a leg up. Imagine in healthcare if nonprofit insurance companies work. They exist, right? Imagine if pharmaceuticals were nonprofit. There were a group of hospitals that actually formed their own nonprofit pharmaceutical company. And I will say, since you're wearing a sports jersey, I'm a Packers fan. The Packers are the only nonprofit fan-owned team in all of professional
publicly traded, right? And they will not allow any other city to do it.
There you go. So I believe that if we pull the camera back and look at the big picture, what we're really doing here is pro-consumer, pro-local community, and nonprofit. And those things we need more of in this society right now. Not
Erica?
less.
Yeah, I'm very glad that Roland had you here
Thanks,
to explain
Erica.
it to us and then to the larger viewing audience, because just reading the article, I must say I did not have a full understanding, so I have a much better, well-rounded understanding. And so with your market expansion, so I'm from Albany, Georgia, which is southwest of Atlanta. It's about 90,000 people. So to you, are those markets where there is internet access that you all would be able to expand to as well, where local really is very much so a thing?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I'm really proud of the fact, I know that they, well, I'm gonna say, I'm very proud of the fact that we have those two markets in South Dakota. They're small, okay? But they came to me and said, we'd really like to have your service in our market. And we worked with them. They provided the roof space for us to put an antenna. They went around and raised money so we could buy the servers and come to town. And an interesting fact is that broadband availability is greater than broadcast over-the-air reach. Let me say that a different way.
Wow.
You are more likely to have broadband in those communities than you are to get an over-the-air broadcast signal.
And that's because it changed because the cable companies all own the pipes into your homes, and so they flipped the switch. They said, oh, phone service, not a problem. We have broadband. So you're no longer paying for the phone service, you're now paying these escalating costs, which is why I was a huge proponent of net neutrality.
Right on.
Saying forget this whole deal where if you pay more, you get to be in a faster lane than me.
Right.
Why am I also a proponent of that? Because this digital show allows us to compete against CNN, MSNBC,
right.
Fox News. And so if they got an opportunity to be in a faster lane
right.
and I'm slower, you're going to be frustrated if I'm buffering. You're not going to watch me.
And let's really put a sharp point on it. Black Lives Matter started as an online movement. If you give somebody a gatekeeper function that they can say that gets shown and that doesn't, you lose that. So I'm totally with you on net neutrality. And on the point of the smaller communities, yes, we've actually seen how broadband with an open internet can serve a lot of homes, and a lot of those homes can't get an over-the-air signal. So it's working in South Dakota, and it's working in Manhattan, where a lot of times people can't get an over-the-air signal. My only point to you is if I can get more people to sign up and contribute, we're going to turn that money right around, buy more servers, launch more markets. We're doing it now. Even though we've been sued, we're launching more markets. We're going to keep marching. And anybody in any community, come find us. If you want to bring Locast to your community, we've done it in 2 small markets. We'll do it in more.
So I'm looking down the line where your lawsuit collides with a stupid judge, because that's what we're getting more and more of. And I'm hearing you say that it's right there in the Copyright Act, and that's wonderful. And so we're going to have the judge that doesn't know day-to-day operations, right? And has never filed a motion, looking and coming up with some wacky interpretation. And then we'll just chase it all the way up to the Supreme Court, and I have no assurance about anything that could happen there. So I'm wondering, are there any other ways to protect the service that you're providing? Like, to me, from what you described, there are real public safety interests involved in people having access to at least local news, which now they do not.
They don't. It's a great question. I'm still idealistic enough to believe in our court system. And I'm still idealistic enough to believe that even I, as a progressive liberal, am prepared to make a conservative argument to any judge who will listen. The law is what the law says. They say it all the time. It's called, plain meaning statutory construction. Well, the law says this. Okay, then if that's really how we're living, then the law says a nonprofit can retransmit. I want to put that to the test. It's just a plain meaning interpretation. Now, I also happen to think that we are in the Southern District of New York, a very, sophisticated court with a very sophisticated judge, a judge who's been around for many years, who's been very fair. And I still say it. I have faith in our judicial system. I believe we have the best, strongest, cleanest arguments. Again, the reason they're shooting at me is to distract whoever's the judge from what's really going on. Hey, look at that guy. He's a lobbyist.
Right.
Hey, look at that guy. He's just trying to make money. We can't prove it, but we think it. He's trying to make money.
But even if you win, okay, and the bigs get together and they lobby to get Congress to do what they weren't willing to do before, and then we're looking at legislation to change the Copyright Act. Okay, whatever way whatever way the poor people who were affected, I'm waiting for that one. They're just looking at the lawsuit. They're looking at it right now.
No, so you're right. You're absolutely right. Their next move would be to go to Congress. Their next move would go to Congress.
Where's the buffer? Is there something that we could do in grassroots effort other than watching that could undergird and support and justify why this is necessary? Because this directly affects impoverished communities. Black folk, white folk, all folk, poor folk.
But about folks who are giving, that's the database of people who are going to be saying, okay, now let's mobilize and organize.
Exactly.
And again, making the argument because the cost. What has happened is, again, cable reached a point, I think, at its highest inflection point. I think the highest
90%.
point, it was at 105 or 106 million homes.
That's right, 90%.
So it used to be mid-70s, broadcast networks were in 98% of American homes.
Yep.
Cable comes in late 70s, all of a sudden, then early 80s, then it explodes, in the 90s, and it goes up more than 100 million. You only had about 14 or 15 networks that were above 100 million. CNN, HLN, ESPN. ESPN was charging, it was crazy. So $5 to $7 of every bill was going to ESPN. Then all of a sudden, every year, cable customer service got worse, bill kept going high. And I was sitting there going, there's gonna be a point where the public says,
enough.
You know what?
Yep.
Y'all can kiss my ass.
Yep.
And the cable companies kept saying, they'll never leave us, because they were using sports against people.
Yep.
I watched my Big Ten game, my SEC game. Then it got to the point, millennials were born. Millennials were like, they don't give a shit about TV.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, millennials don't give a shit about TV, coincides with technology. Then, for the first time, we saw in history the number of television sets being purchased decrease. I never forget, it decreased by 1%. And I said,
Such a weirdo.
I know.
That's my kind of weirdo.
But this is my business.
I love
This is your business.
And it decreased. And I said, it's starting.
Right.
And then, about 6 years ago, I said, when somebody creates a DVR to record over the air, this bad boy's about to accelerate. Channel Master did. They sent me one. Channel Master, and that's why I don't understand what the hell Tim Cook was doing. If Tim Cook had put a damn coaxial in that Apple TV to now be able to watch over the air through your Apple TV.
Well, Apple TV has Locast. You
Right.
can use the Locast app on Apple TV. That was a key move for us. And so now, if you get that Apple TV device and you don't want to pay a bunch for cable, but you do want to watch your local
Right.
news, weather, sports, whatever, download our app right there on Apple TV. Same with Roku.
Right.
Same with Android. So look, there's another historical point that I want to put out again to try to make this relevant to the larger themes of your show. Those cable systems were built in urban communities with franchise agreements
Yep.
that promised something back to the community. Here, you can use all these rights of way, you can dig up the streets, but you got to serve the community. And yet, those very same systems now have been sold and aggregated into massive corporations, Comcast chief among them. And I don't believe the community that really helped get them off the ground has been given its fair shot.
And they gave several African Americans, David Percy Sutton in New York at one of the franchises.
Yes.
Johnny Johnson at one of the franchises in Chicago. And then they sold those in the early 80s before this whole thing exploded.
That's right.
And you're right. And so those cable companies then went from owning, and then, because I have the copy of the speech, Kathy Hughes gave a speech at the Rainbow Push where she said, okay, it's a shame that we launched TV One and we had to give Comcast equity
Yep.
Sure.
in our network to guarantee we get put on.
Yep.
So that also was happening. And so all of a sudden you went from the cable companies now owning the cable channels. And so now they own the content that's on their very systems, and they're making that money and not owning the broadband as well.
Right.
So it's like, oh, we're vertical and horizontal. We're gonna get the money in every single way.
Exactly.
And it's all this sort of game, but it's so costly. Cord cutting is blowing up. ESPN is now in 87 million homes.
That's a lot.
They've lost 13, do the math. They lost 13 million homes, y'all. Multiply 13 million subs by $6 by 12.
They're scared.
Billions of dollars lost because people said, I'm sick of paying all this money for cable. And this now allows them to watch. And go to my iPad, please, because see, y'all might be thinking, this is ABC, NBC, CBS. No, because of the broadcast, when it was switched, used to be analog broadcast. Come back to me, I'll tell you. It's an analog broadcast. So here's what happened. So Channel 4 now has Channel 4.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So they now have 4 stations. So Bounce TV,
Right.
network targeting African Americans, how they become a broadcast network. They went to the local markets and said, we want to lease from you your 0.1 or 0.2 station. So go to my iPad. So here you see Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 9,
Yeah, keep
Univision,
Right.
Fox, this independent, this DC, this is the CW.
Yep.
Then you see WETA, Telemundo, Cozy, Charge, Comet, I don't know what this T, whatever it is, Justice, Get TV, Grit, Bounce,
Right. And keep
Buzz,
going down 'cause you got
Me
the PBS
TV,
Kids,
movies, you know, and yes, was it the bottom. So what is these are all digital stations. So it used to be there were 3 stations growing up. Then when Fox came on, it was 4. Now because of the digital signal,
Right.
you now have 20 or 30. In Houston, huge international population, it's like 50 channels because now you have, and the same thing in DC, Vietnamese, you have Saudi Arabian, Chinese, you got all these different stations. So now, because of broadcast, some places you've got 40 and 50 stations.
Now look, Roland, I'm so glad you're mentioning this because cable companies and satellite companies do not carry those multicast, so-called multicast stations. We do, because we're not limited except by how many servers we can buy. So please go contribute and we can buy more servers. But this is a way to serve local communities too. You'll notice, I keep saying go to that PBS Kids. That's the multicast stream off of a public TV station. Now you can put that on the phone and throw it in the back seat and have the kids watch PBS Kids while you're in the car on Locast.
It's you kids now.
Oh, is it You Kids?
Yeah, it's short for Universal Kids. I'm a kid.
See,
I'm a mom.
I'm an empty
But
nester.
I would be very excited about that being. That would be a big
My kids are all
offering for
grown.
me.
I don't know anybody.
Yeah,
But
that would be a
for
big
our
offering.
audience, and I know somebody's y'all probably comment like, why the hell are you spending all of this time? Because I need, and this is gonna be the last point, and then we're gonna have David give his final comments. Because I need black people to understand the game. I was with TV One 13 of its first 14 years. Don't think I was just some face. No, I was sent around this country. I helped build that damn network. Oh, let me be real clear. I was sent to Rochester, New York to do community engagement, to get TV One carried there. I was sent to Charleston, to Fort Worth, Texas, sent to San Antonio, sent to cities all across the country. Jonathan Rogers, the founding CEO, my alpha brother, good friend of mine, we talked the business. I ain't just some person sitting on the air. I know the business of this business. Here's what the cable companies did. They put BET was the first black cable network. So BET basically was grandfathered in. BET's on basic cable. You can go to a hotel room anywhere in the country. For the most part, any place in the country, BET is going to be in the local cable system because they're on basic cable. Every other black network that came after them, they put them on the higher tier. I did work with Major Broadcasting Cable Network, later became the Family Channel. That's what they did. But that's what they did with TV One. They put us on the top tier. So what they did to black folks is, listen to me, y'all, they will put TV One near on the same tier as HBO, Showtime, and Stars. So if you wanted TV One, you had to pay for the highest level of cable. Y'all hear what I just said? Black people, less income than any other group, lowest amount of wealth, forced to pay higher cable bills because of where black networks are. That was by design. They put black, Monique says she's a parent. Guess who is also in the highest tier? Family channels. Because they want families paying for the highest cable possible. So, black people are paying for the highest cable and the set-top box and spending $150, $200 a month on cable. This now says, wait a minute, you don't need to do that. And now, whether on your pad, your phone, your computer, or Apple TV, whatever, you can watch it wherever you want to watch it. Understand the game. Billions are being reaped off of us, and that's what is trying to be protected here. David, final comment.
Well, Roland, I want to end by talking about something from my day job so you can see where my heart lies. One of my clients is a man named Byron Allen. He is an African-American media company owner of the highest order. He recently bought the Weather Channel, which you just mentioned. Byron sued Comcast for discrimination under the Civil Rights Act of 1866 for discriminating in
Comcast,
contract.
Charter,
Covered it.
several. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so you've covered the
Oh,
case.
yes.
So we're talking about a company, Comcast, that rather than go to trial just to prove that they didn't discriminate, would rather appeal to the Supreme Court and its conservative majority and work with the Trump administration. They've actually given time to the Trump DOJ.
Because when you go before the Supreme Court, you only get, what, 30 minutes for
They've
oral
given
arguments?
10 of those minutes.
They have given 10 of those minutes to the Trump Department of Justice. I can't recall the last time a private entity is giving the government their time to argue on their behalf.
So I bring this up because when you connect those dots and explain to the African American community what's going on and what they're up against, I'm being sued by that company personally. And I welcome that fight. And I welcome the chance to beat them in court so that ordinary people can get a break for once. These things are not unrelated. They're absolutely connected. And I just can't thank you enough for bringing me on the show.
I
and talk about Locast.
Folks, again, it is locast.org. Please show it again, and you'll see it when you actually log in. You see a live TV guide. These are all the cities that you can actually see the local programming in, and then you have the particular profile as well. The donate button is here as well. I told y'all, I mean, that's the only way I was able to watch the game, and because I didn't have my Sling box connected, and again, you have to buy all the other stuff to be able to watch programming you already paying for. which is nonsensical. But that's what's going on here. And so, David, we certainly appreciate it. And the Byron Allen Supreme Court case is going to be heard on November 13th.
November 13th, that's right.
And so I got to find out how we get a seat to actually hear the oral arguments. We plan on having our cameras there, and so I want to be able to hear those arguments and then get folks in and out. So again, locast.org. David, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Yep. All right, folks, Luxe Jazz Experience taking place in Cabo, November 7th through the 11th next week. Yours truly will be there. We want you to be there as well. Go to lifeluxejazz.com, LIFELUXEJAZZ.com. 14 acts, Gerald Albright, Kirk Whalum, Average White Band, Shalea, Ronnie Laws. I mean, it's going to be jam-packed. Now, here's the deal. If you can't go, I understand. But you can also participate by getting the live streaming pass from GFNTV.com, GFNTV.com. $10.99, you'll get to see all of the concerts over the course of 3 days. It's fantastic. Oh, did I tell you that GFNTV.com, Black-owned? Yeah, as well. And so, also, Luxe Jazz Experience, Black-owned. A sister created this to provide an opportunity for African Americans who live in a lot of these cold states, even though climate change has screwed that sucker up, to opportunity, of course, to hang out in Mexico for 4 days and have a great time. I'll be doing Roland Martin Unfiltered there next Thursday and Friday from Cabo, but you can experience the concerts by going to GFNTV.com and getting your live streaming pass. So please do so, and we look forward to checking it out. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.